The Toronto Raptors headed to Cleveland on a Tuesday night to take on the Cavs. LeBron James, the king, coming off an 18-point performance in front of the royal family on Monday night. Well, no royalty apart from LeBron in the building on Tuesday, but the Toronto Raptors did start off strong. That's Valanciunas with the rebound and Terrence Ross with the slam up the middle. Cleveland leading by 2 at that point. This time Ross to Kyle Lowry. He'll pull up from way downtown and knock it down. He had 16 points and 14 assists in the game. Lowry looking for Valanciunas, and he'll find him for the slam as well. 67% from the field in the first quarter for the Raptors. Lowry, this time trapped in the corner, but he'll find Jonas yet again in the paint. He helped lead the way for Toronto with 18 points and 15 rebounds on the night. LeBron James not happy about that play either. In the second quarter, James this way, headed the other way, and throwing down the reverse slam. That's why they call him the king. He had 16 total points at the half, but the Raptors did lead it by 9 coming out of the locker room. In the third quarter, Lowry double-teamed this time by Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, but we'll find Amir Johnson for the layup. Johnson had 10 points on 5 of 10 from the field, and Toronto led then 70-59. But the Cavs and LeBron pushing back the fadeaway jumper there. And yet again, this time driving and banking in the floater. He was 12 of 21 on the night and had 35 total points in the game. In the fourth quarter, Irving, this time kicking it out to Kevin Love, who knocks down the three. That would tie things up at 97 and would cap off a Cavalier run 12-2. LeBron, this time with a chance to get the lead and get it done with less than a minute to go. The Cavaliers go up 102-99. LeBron had 10 points in that fourth quarter. And with the Cavs up by 3 points late in the game, Tristan Thompson defending Kyle Lowry tightly. Lowry with the last chance to get it done for Toronto and can't quite get it to fall. The Cavaliers hold on to win it 105-101. The Portland Trail Blazers headed to the Palace to take on the Pistons on a Tuesday night in the NBA. LaMarcus Aldridge averaging 22.3 points and 9.9 rebounds per game thus far this season, and the Blazers jump out to a quick start. It's Damian Lillard to Wesley Matthews, who nails the three-pointer. Portland up 9-0 early on, but the Pistons did bounce right back. Josh Smith running the break. He'll find Kyle Singler, who knocks down the transition three. That was part of an 11-0 run by the Pistons. And with the time winding down in the first quarter, Aldridge getting it in the corner and gets it to go. With that field goal, LaMarcus Aldridge passed Terry Porter to become Portland's second all-time leading scorer. And the Blazers bench contributing as well. That's Chris Kaman with the hook shot to put Portland up 37-25. And this time, Robin Lopez to Allen Crabbe for the layup. He had 9 points off the bench in the first half alone. Portland leading 55-46 coming out of the locker room. And the Blazers extending their lead in the third quarter. That's Wesley Matthews with the step-back jumper. He finished with 19 points in the game. And later in the third, Steve Blake looking inside for Chris Kaman, who spins and jams with the left hand. The only points of the second half, and he finished with 14 total off the bench. The Pistons mounting a charge later in the second half. It's Greg Monroe finishing the layup there. And then off the Aldridge miss, it's headed the other way. Caron Butler will find Monroe, and he'll get it to go. That would cap a 13-0 run by the Pistons. But it was Aldridge steadying the Blazers as he usually does. He finished with 23 points and 11 rebounds for his 6th straight double-double. And that's Damian Lillard driving all the way. The Blazers now 10-0 against the Eastern Conference this season as they win it 98-86. On a Tuesday night in the NBA, the New York Knicks headed to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks looking to avoid a ninth straight loss after Phil Jackson and Dennis Rodman questioned the team in the news this week. And it was Jrue Holiday in the first quarter looking for Tyreke Evans, and he'll find him in the corner. Knocking it down for three, Evans had 9 points in the first quarter. Melo pulling up for the long jumper that would cut the deficit to just 2. This time, Holiday to Anthony Davis on the cut for the slam. Davis had just 5 points on 1 for 6 from the field in the first half. Heading into the second quarter, J.R. Smith finding Amar'e Stoudemire to slow things down and throw things down as well. That's 16 points in the first half for Amar'e. Melo this time gets the tough layup to go. He had 17 total points in the game. And Holiday driving. Melo getting it done defensively. It's headed the other way, but then bounces back to Omer Asik, who slams it down. The New Orleans Pelicans up by 2 at the half. Iman Shumpert to Stoudemire this time, finishing the layup. He had a season-high 26 points in the game. But AD did get things going on the other end of the floor in the third quarter. That's Evans to AD. New Orleans leading 73-65, and this time, Evans to AD for the one-handed jam. Davis finished with 18 points and 8 rebounds in the game. And the final seconds of the third quarter, J.R. Smith hoisting up the 3, and he will get it to fall. But the Pelicans extend the lead in the fourth quarter. Austin Rivers to Omer Asik for the layup plus the foul. He had a season-high 16 points and also a double-double performance with 14 rebounds as well. Off the Anthony Davis block, it's headed the other way. Tyreke Evans will finish that one. He had a game-high 27 points, and the Knicks lose a 9th straight game as New Orleans wins it 104-93. The Dallas Mavericks taking on the Memphis Grizzlies on a Tuesday night in the NBA. A couple of Western Conference powerhouses going head-to-head. Marc Gasol averaging 19 points and 8.1 rebounds on the season. Chandler Parsons at 16.1 points a game himself. But Dallas came out firing from 3. That's Parsons knocking it down. Not once, but a couple of times. There's Jameer Nelson getting a few of his own. And Parsons yet again. Dallas had 7 3-pointers in the first quarter alone. Attempted 40 total in the game as opposed to Memphis with just 14. Tony Allen to Marc Gasol inside. He had 16 points in that first quarter. And Dirk Nowitzki on the other end. With the turnover, it's headed the other way. Tony Allen will finish that one. Dallas led at halftime by 6 points. In the third quarter, Mike Conley can't get the floater to go, but that's why Zebo's there. He had 17 points and 13 rebounds on the night. This time, Conley won't miss. Pulling up from downtown, he had 22 points on 9 of 13 from the field on the night. Later in the third, Marc Gasol looking for Tayshaun Prince, and he will find him cutting through the lane. Prince had 11 points and 7 rebounds off the bench. That would put Memphis up by almost 10 at that point. Memphis tough inside as well. The Gasol miss, the Randolph rebound, but Gasol able to finally get the tip in to go. In the fourth quarter, Tyson Chandler to Chandler Parsons for yet another 3. He led Dallas with 30 total points. And Devin Harris, this time pulling up from deep as well. Dallas had 18 3-pointers in the game. Gasol to Conley. He'll knock down the deep jumper. That would put Memphis up by 8. And later in the fourth, Randolph missing, but Gasol there yet again to dominate inside. He led with 30 points as the Grizz win it, 114-105. The Milwaukee Bucks headed to OKC to take on the Thunder on a Tuesday night in the NBA. Kevin Durant, last year's NBA MVP in his first home game of the season. And fans excited to see him, and he'd give them one to remember. There's KD early in the game, knocking it down from 3. The Thunder leading by 1 in that first quarter. This time, Russell Westbrook pulling up and knocking it down. He had 9 points in that first quarter alone. OKC leading by 4. Brandon Knight on the other end with the deep three. The Bucks ended the first quarter on an 11-0 run to tie things up at 26. And in the second quarter, Jabari Parker going to work with things still tied. He had 15 points on 7 of 13 from the field. The Thunder in transition, that's Reggie Jackson to Russell Westbrook for the two-handed jam. That would put OKC up by 4 this time. Jackson driving for a slam of his own. He had 18 points off the bench on the night. And later in the second, Jackson with the 3. He can't quite get it to fall, but Westbrook is there for the putback slam. Russell led the way with 28 points on the night. And the Thunder with a season high for the total points scored in a half at 61. Coming out of the locker room, that's Steven Adams with the slam. He had 4 points and 6 rebounds on the night. Westbrook, this time driving, and he'll dunk it yet again. OKC up by 13 at that point. But OJ Mayo doing work to keep the Bucks in the game. He had 12 points in the third quarter and 18 total points in the game, but KD was playing well on the other end, driving, slamming, looking like the KD of last season. And this time, with the jumper, he'll knock it down. He had 23 total points in the game. He was 7 of 11 from the field and had 7 assists as well. Larry Sanders missing that layup. It's headed the other way. And he'll find Serge Ibaka for the slam as well. The difference between rebounding between the Thunder and Bucks, 23 total. And the Thunder score their season high in points and win it 114-101. The Miami Heat taking on the Phoenix Suns on a Tuesday night in the NBA. Chris Bosh, statistically one of the most clutch players in the league, would prove it on a Tuesday night early in the first quarter. Josh McRoberts to Bosh inside for the slam. He had 10 points in the first half. Later in the first quarter, Luol Deng gets the roll on that short pull-up jumper. He had 23 total points in the game. Miami would lead by 5 at that point. But the Suns got back into the game with some sharp shooting. Gerald Green knocking it down from deep in the final seconds of the first quarter. And Marcus Morris with the deep pull-up jumper as well. That would put Phoenix up 31-28. In the second quarter, Miles Plumlee with the big block on Dwayne Wade. The ball came back and actually hit D. Wade in the head. Probably doesn't love that, but we'll show it to you a couple more times. Phoenix up by 5 points at the half. But it was Chris Bosh heating up in the third, driving in for the layup over his defender. And this time, Norris Cole looking for Bosh, and he'll knock it down from deep. Bosh had 14 points in that third quarter. But it was a back-and-forth game, late in the fourth quarter especially. Marcus Morris on the other end with the 3. That would put Phoenix up by 1. Now D. Wade, this time on the other end of the floor. He'll put in work and then fire a jumper. He'll get it to go plus the foul. Now he made that free throw. Had 16 total points in the game. And on the other end, Markieff Morris finds his brother Marcus for the corner 3. Marcus had a career-high 25 points in the game. That would put Phoenix up by 1. But Bosh would close this game out. McRoberts finds him for the jumper. And this time, D. Wade will. Bosh had a season-high 34 points in the game, including 7 straight down the stretch, as Miami wins at 103-97. The Spurs headed to Utah on a Tuesday night in the NBA. Tim Duncan and his guys with 10 wins out of the last 11 games. But they would do so tonight without Tony Parker taking the floor in the first quarter off the inbound. That's Manu Ginobili to Timmy inside for the layup. He had 8 points in the first quarter. And in the second, as we've seen for so very long, great ball movement by the Spurs. Manu eventually finding Boris Diaw, and he'd knock it down from 3. San Antonio up by 3 at that point, but the Jazz would go on a run on the other end. That's Alec Burks Driving to the rim, he'll get the tough layup to go. And this time, Dante Exum to Rudy Gobert inside for the slam. 8 unanswered points for the Utah Jazz. Later in the second, Duncan missing the layup, but Kawhi Leonard is there for the putback. San Antonio still leading by 1. Gordon Hayward driving to the rim, and he'll get the tough layup to go as well. Utah leading by 1 point at the half. And we see Jerry Sloan in the house. He became the head coach of the Utah Jazz 26 years ago on this date. That's Hayward to Derek Favors for the layup plus the foul. Now that would put the Utah Jazz up by 8 after a made free throw. Danny Green driving to the basket, and he'll get the runner to go. That would cap a Spurs run 10-2 to tie things up at 69 apiece. But Greg Popovich getting hot in that third quarter. Now going up for a rebound, Aaron Baines was called for the loose ball foul. Pop didn't agree with that call. He walked onto the floor to argue it, received 2 technical fouls, and was ejected from the game. So the Spurs would have to finish it without him in the fourth quarter. Duncan, this time with the running hook shot. He finished with 23 points and 14 rebounds in the game, but the Jazz would put it away. That's Hayward with the steal and the finish on the other end. He had 20 points in the game. This time, Favors for the slam inside and 2 of his 21 points. Utah wins it 100-96. The Sacramento Kings headed to the Staples Center to take on the Lakers on a Tuesday night in the NBA. Kobe Bryant joining a handful of other players from across the league with "I Can't Breathe" warm-up t-shirts as a message to Eric Garner and his family. Bryant also 63 points away from Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list in the NBA. The turnaround jumper there to put LA up by 1 in the first quarter. Rudy Gay with the three-pointer on the other end. He had 23 total points in the game. Sacramento leading by 4 at that point. And Darren Collison knocking him down as well. He led Sacramento with 26 total points. Second quarter highlights, Ben McLemore this time. Getting the ball from Collison. He'll pull up and knock down the 3 from deep. He had 15 points, and that would improve Sacramento's lead to 11 at the time. Ronnie Price stealing it. Throws it over his head to Wesley Johnson. Johnson can't get the dunk to go, but Kobe's there to clean things up and cut the deficit to 7. Sacramento leading 55-46 at halftime. And Kobe hot in the third, knocking down the jumper. And getting it done from deep as well. He had 12 total points in that third quarter. Sacramento still leading by 2. In the fourth quarter, Collison pulling up and knocking it down from the extended free throw line. He was 11 of 18 from the field, but Kobe bringing the Lakers back on the other end. The Lakers with the steal. Jordan Hill finds Kobe for the slam. And this time in the offensive set, Carlos Boozer misses. Hill with the rebound and finds Kobe from 3 to tie things up at 92 with just a couple of minutes to go in the game. Later, Kobe finds Jordan Hill for the layup plus the lead. Hill had just 6 points, but he scored when it counted. And with the Kings down by 3 with less than 15 seconds to go, the clock ticking. Eventually, Nick Stauskas looking to score inside. Can't get the 3 to fall. The Lakers hang on and win it 98-95.